Welcome back to the Cinnamon Effect. Today I have Deva Nirguna. He's a AAA. What that means, he's an architect, artist, and astrologer. For more than 50 years, he has been concerned with spirituality, space, structure, and the stars. He's been trained in many other modalities as a musician, tantra teacher, body worker, medicine, and meditation coach. Looking at the stars, see how they shine for you. Deva, I'm so excited to have you today.
Good morning, Kimberly. Good morning. Let me show you just real quickly where I am. I'm down here in Lake Atitlan, Guatemala. I can show you a live shot there of the lake. Do you see that okay?
It's beautiful, and it actually looks like a postcard. Like it looks fake.
No, it's live. You'll see a boat going across. Can you see that?
I do. I see the boat. I mean, I believe you that it's real, but it just looks so beautiful. Like, oh my gosh. And
it is gorgeous. It's a very strong portal here. It's very strong.
I love it. And your studio, I love it. It's beautiful, very galactic in there. I want to tell everybody that you and I met a couple years ago, and I'm going to give a shout out to a friend, Brooke Wazak. We went to School of the Arts together. I've known her since I was probably 10 or 11, something like that. And somehow I think I was looking for an astrologer. This was years ago. And she said she had private messaged me and said that I needed to contact you, that she had the most incredible experience with you. And so I am all about like a personal recommendation. And so I reached out to you, and you were actually in South Florida, but you live in Guatemala. So you were in South Florida for a little while, and I had my first reading with you, and it was pretty magical. I think I was with you for a couple of hours. You remember that?
Yeah, I absolutely remember it. It was one Sunday morning, I know, at that center that we were setting up, right? So that was a really important time, yeah. Sure, it takes me usually a couple of hours to go through a chart, to really get a kind of embodiment of it. It's all very well looking at a chart and somebody saying this, that, or the other, but do you get it? Do you feel it? That's the most important message that you can get through. It becomes some kind of somatic sense, in a sense, And the reason is, that astrology has this view, very deep view. The language that I speak of astrology comes from ancient Greece and Egypt and Mesopotamia. And back then they were very concerned and understood Plato and Pythagoras. They all had this sense that we're part of a big spirit form. Mm-hmm. Even though we think of Greek philosophers as the age of reason and intellect, they understood there was a divine inspiration that set all of this up. Mm-hmm. And the stars were obviously a source of that inspiration, so, and then they come into the planets and they give a kind of a music, an ongoing music and tone to everything. So this sense of feeling it or tuning into your chart or something like that is really what I try to practice here, So yeah, okay.
I think that's so important, because you could read a chart for anybody, but if they're not really going to take the information and see how it applies, like I feel like once you had read my birth chart and once I learned my rising sign and all of that, I really felt like I knew myself better.
Right.
I knew these parts of my personality through my chart.
That's right.
And I think it's really important to tune in, like you're saying. Like, you need to really think about how that has related to your past experiences and how you can use it to better your future. And I would love to kind of bring up where recently you had reached out to me. We were going to get in contact, but you would reach out to me saying, Kimberly, your chart is saying some pretty amazing things in coordination with what I'm doing, And I was like so excited. So we got on the phone, we talked, we did a Zoom for like an hour, and you just gave me like a lot of insight and also encouragement to like kind of keep on the path that I'm on. So I really love that.
I think that's the best I can do. It's in one sense, the chart in a sense compels, and because I can read that system, I can get behind and say, look, there you are, right timing, look what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And so if you can really get people, you're tuned in, you are at the right moment at the right time. The universe does want you to be supported. It does want you in one sense to flower, to sing your song and dance your dance. That's what we're here for. And that is I always ask a client at the beginning of a session, do you think, or do you feel, or do you know that you're connected to a bigger source? And almost everybody that comes for a reading, and usually they're women as well, say, I know that, or I feel it. It's right, this sense of, yes, I've got that. So this sense of being somehow supported or giving you confidence, like, go on, you can do that. It's right timing. Because the astrology, chart is a clock. It gives timing. Mm-hmm. It's also a great stage, It's a place where you can act out and look at the play of your life as well. So it's got a lot of valuable information, So.
Yes. What did you say? You saw something kind of wild in my chart.
Shall I throw up your chart?
I mean, yeah, let's do it. I love it.
So here's your chart. I share your chart. Here it is. So I'm going to go. Here is your chart here's your rising sign. I won't go too much into the chart, but here you are, Virgo rising, with this amazing sense of presence around your physicality, because the rising sign is to do with how do you see me? How do you feel me initially? This is this energy here of first impressions, But you can see up here is your sun. Here's the symbol for the sun, 19 degrees 19 of Taurus. And here's a lot of nice energy here in Taurus. In this part of the chart that we call the ninth house, which is about communicating, about putting out there like systems of knowledge. You could be learning, but also attending, things such as classes, or becoming a source for teachings and things like this. This is the ninth house. Now, here is a planet called Uranus, and it's here in your chart, and it's right opposite. You can see it's right opposite.
Yes.
And Uranus is not a visible planet. Most of the old astrology deals with the visibles. Saturn, Mars, Jupiter are the outer planets that are visible, Venus, Mercury, and the Sun, the inner planets. But Uranus we discovered with a telescope right between the American and French revolutions. And Uranus, when we discovered it, it brought a new energy into the story. And Uranus takes 84 years to go around this clock of the astrology chart once. Right? So every moment it's kind of a new moment for Uranus. And it's the energy of Uranus is aha, flash, inspiration. Let's do this. Come on. Let's go. I get it.
I like
this
it.
Kind of this is Uranus. Okay, so now I'm going to put the clock on. Here's the second part. And you'll see your Uranus right now is at 19 degrees 12 seconds of Taurus. It's exactly on your sun, dear.
Wow.
This is the one time in the life when Uranus is on your sun.
Yeah, because really in one's lifetime, it's only one time. You get one.
It's only one. Well, it's a little period, but it's almost like this week.
This week?
Yeah, look, it's 19 degrees 12, and here's your sun, 19 degrees 19. Let me go, and here's Jupiter, which is teaching. So this is really important. The Jupiter is here giving visibility to this invisible planet. So what am I doing? I'm podcasting, I'm interviewing, I'm giving visibility, I'm teaching, I'm accessing, I know you can't make this stuff up.
You can't make it up. I know, but it's like, if I would have, it's like, oh gosh, if you would have known like where this was going to be, but this is so like poetic that it's here right now. Do you feel like that is the most important? Like, what's the most important part of someone's chart? Is it where certain planets are? Is it your rising sign?
I think the ascendant. I think,
okay.
A good astrologer given an hour would spend most of the time talking about the ascendant.
Which is your rising sign.
Which is your rising sign, because that sets the whole stage. It's the reason why we ask for a time of birth, because it represents what is the 12th of the clock, which number, which sign is rising. So you're Virgo rising, but half an hour later you would have been Libra rising. So the timing of the time, I activated my body with my first breath. Aha, here I am, first creative act. So this is the ascendant.
So how did the sun sign get all the glory? Because people always ask.
Because it's very easy to calculate.
Okay.
And they put it in the newspapers in the 30s.
Oh, they did. Like, this baby was born a Taurus or whatever.
That's it. So they could make a horoscope column very easily. It doesn't point out where your moon is, for instance. You have this beautiful sensitive moon in Pisces. You would have to calculate that. And before computers, we had to do this with tables and by hand. And then even more complicated is to calculate the rising sign, because it depends on the exact time and the place where you are on the planet. So that was a complicated
I have like...
But the sun sign... But the sun sign, easy. Oh, yeah, I'm born in this 12th of the year, Taurus.
Right.
Right, easy. Let's write a column about that. Not that the sun is not important. My God, you've got Uranus right on it right now.
That's right.
The sun... And the sun represents in the Egyptians called the sun Ra. It's this R energy. It's your force, it's your sun, it's ruling your heart energy. Aha, let's get on with this.
Deva,
this is the energy.
Say Ra. Do it again, because it's so awesome.
It's not that it's not important, it's hugely important. But we have to put it in a real perspective with the ascendant and the moon. And then what's transiting right this week is a very important sign. You'll have a very nice Valentine's Day, by the way.
Oh, interesting. Hubby, are you... What are you doing for Valentine's Day, my love? So that's special. I love that you can pinpoint that. But the 19 degrees, I see it right there. So that's pretty wild. What about, so I'm like earth, water. I know that I have enough astrology, information to be dangerous, with it. But, what about your Mercury? Is that...
So, each of the planets has a characterization about it. Who's Mercury? Hi, I'm Mercury. I can look at the sun. You can't do that. I can do that. I can communicate all this stuff about this very bright being called the sun. I'm Mercury. I'm Venus. I understand. I'm beauty. I'm love. I go behind the sun 5 times in 4 years and make this beautiful rose petal. I'm Mars. What are you doing? Doing this or doing that? I'm Saturn. I'm your wisdom understanding. I'm Jupiter. I'm Saturn. How are you organizing your life?
Oh, Saturn.
So each of the planets have these amazing characterizations about them. So So the astrology chart is not just a clock, but it's a drama play with all of these characters, and they have jobs to do and signs to take care of. And so on. So it's a very elaborate storytelling. It's like a Shakespearean play. Your charts, we can go deeper and deeper into it. But the basic understanding of it being a clock. So if we go back, we can see what is transiting where at this time. And for you right now, Uranus is going over your sun. And look at this next couple of days. Watch the moon here, because I can make the moon move forwards here one day. Tomorrow is the 13th, another day, Valentine's Day. Here's the moon. Here it is with Jupiter and Uranus. And Uranus is now 14 degrees. 14 seconds. It's exactly on your sun. It's within a hair, right? But here comes the moon with Uranus. Oh, look at that day. Look how powerful this is. So it's a powerful week for you, dear. It really
so
is.
What would I do to harness this power? Like, is there something I should specifically be doing? I mean, tell me.
I always feel that when we have energy around the sun, it's to do with this aha energy that we have. So, there's a tremendous wave of energy going on for the next few months. And I think I can show it here on the chart. There's just all the outer planets are getting hit by all the inner planets in one giant wave. And my sense is that this kind of huge music is like Beethoven's Fifth coming to a crescendo. What can we do in this big wave of energy? Well, the one thing we can do is get on our surfboard, and I think our surfboard is the place where we can be 100% ourselves, and that's in our personal practice.
Okay.
I think moving into, we don't get energy like this. This is a tremendously important time on the planet.
So for everybody is riding this wave. Okay, I love this. So, this is time for getting clear on goals, more meditation, tapping into what's
seeding what you want. This is all in Taurus. Everybody has this energy up here at the top of the chart. It happens to be hitting your sun, but it's powerful energy here. Jupiter is going to catch up Uranus by April. For everybody. And if I just do that, let me change this outer clock to some months. Watch, here are the outer planets: Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, Jupiter, and Uranus. And here are all the inner planets. If I just go quickly through the clock here, watch what happens, how they all bunch up. We're now, let me put you back to today. Today, Mars is still in Capricorn. Mars loves it in Capricorn. It's the last day of What's the Plan? What are we planning to do here?
Give me the details of what.
Give me the details on Mars. What's the plan? Because we're taking off and we're going to do this. This is Earth energy. And here in Taurus, yes, what are the seeds of authenticity you want to plant? And so here is Saturn, and let's go really deep with Neptune in practice, in meditation. Now all the personal planets which move quickly around the clock, the moon every month, you just watched it move. But Mars and Venus, watch them all. I'll just go forwards quickly a month at a time. Yeah, look how they start to break up. Look how they move. Look how they're all coming to. Look how they all. Let me just go back here and go forwards weeks. This is when we have. If we go back here, this is a huge eclipse in the States, right here. is that solar eclipse coming in. Look at these packs of planets. Here's the moon and the sun.
Wow.
They all build, and it builds and builds and builds. And as we go forwards, did you see that Jupiter just went past Uranus right on your sun?
Oh, because that rotates. I remember you told me, is it every 12 years?
Every 12 years. Look at this energy here for you in April, and then we go forwards and all the personal planets come in and they make this huge build up here. Look at all of this energy in Taurus there.
Wow. And this is all like in 2024.
Well, this is all between now and May.
Now in May, like, whoa.
Whoa, it's one hell of a wave. And then, here comes Jupiter. Okay, I left Uranus. I'm now in your business house, Kimberly.
Oh.
What are you going to do?
What am I going to
do with all these seeds? I'm going to be here for a year. And then the whole energy, so you watch it just dissipates. You can see the waves gone.
Yeah, that's so wild. It was all bunched up. You guys have to watch this on YouTube because you'll be able to see the chart. It's pretty interesting. Now,
really,
let me ask you.
And for you personally, this Jupiter will then, the seeds that you plant in these few months that we've just talked about, Jupiter then will move on. And when Jupiter gets around back to its place here on your ascendant in 4 years, you will see all the harvest of all of these seeds. Taurus is when we put seeds in the ground in the year. Virgo, your rising sign, is when you get the harvest. So you're putting in seeds now that you will see 3-4 years down the line. And it's the same for everybody. We're planting some positive seeds now for things that can happen and come to fruition sometime down the line.
We have a visitor. I see.
Wow. Luke, I'm in the middle here of a session.
Am I interrupting?
You are.
Hi, Luke. Oh, there's Luke. Hi, Luke. It's okay. So I love that you're kind of relating this to my chart, but everybody can take this information because Uranus, you say it so eloquently, but moving through everyone's chart, Jupiter.
Jupiter and Saturn are really visible, so they're personal. What's the business that I'm doing with life? How am I learning? What instructions am I getting? And because they're there with invisible planets, they're of authenticity. What's my wisdom of being really authentic to myself? That's Jupiter and Uranus. But Saturn is also there with Neptune.
How many years does Saturn take?
28 years to go around. So it's how I organize and give structure to things. It's when you're little, we build big structures with Saturn. So when you're little, we've built an education system. You're born in a certain culture. So along comes an authority, your dad or somebody, put your backpack on, go to school. They're being very Saturnal. But come 28, 29, usually people, they have kids. And then you become the authority in their lives, So you develop under Saturn a certain kind of authorship of structure, a certain architecting of your life, marriage, house, things like that, Saturn. But Saturn says there's 24 hours in the day. I'm Saturn. What are you doing with them? So when Saturn is here with Neptune, which is in its deepest place here in Pisces, believe me, and it's not there for much longer, it's saying, are you taking time to go deep into practice? So if we have a surfboard to surf this wave, it is our spiritual practice.
Okay, so that's what Saturn is doing on my moon.
Yeah, and saying, are you doing anything? What do you do every day? Saturn builds things from consistency, from discipline, from responsibilities.
Ah, interesting. Could you look back in the past and say, oh, like I'm just going to give it an example, and I maybe don't understand this properly, but like the year someone got married, would Saturn necessarily be in their moon? Is that an accurate?
Well, it wouldn't necessarily be with their moon. It happens that Saturn is on your moon.
Oh, okay.
In this house of relationships. So you're probably looking at the whole structures of your relationships, your one-on-one, and feeling, well, look what I've built. Look how, do you feel good about your relationships and what's going on?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
So you happen to have your moon where Saturn is right now, right? Mm-hmm. But Saturn not specifically is concerned with the moon. It's concerned with there's 24 hours in the day. What are you doing with them?
Gotcha. So the houses, how do the houses relate? Are those like fixed or do they move as well?
You can see here on your chart there. Let me just go back to your chart. I'll take the clock off. So here is your chart. And you can see there are 12 signs of the zodiac around. When we have a circle of time, we divide it into 12. This comes from deep in Mesopotamia. Why do we divide a circle into 12? And we also have 12 houses of interpretation. And back there in deep BC, they started an experiment in Mesopotamia that lasted for 900 years. And they observed the planets in their cycles and circles. And they also looked at the tides and the rivers and the crops and famines and wars. And they came up with a series of interpretation. So your ascendant is where the 12 signs meet the 12 houses, and your first house, the first sign, is Virgo. So we set here, the ascendant sets the houses against the signs. These two 12s click together. So then we can go around and say, yes, well, the 5th house here is creativity, 7th house is relationship. 9th house here is being out there in the world. It's this part of the chart up above. Here it's the sign that relates to knowledge and understanding and going deeper. Mm-hmm. Here is a healer for you. Here is your Mercury. Here is your Sun. And the 10th house here is business, and you're in the business of Venus. You're in the business of beauty, dear.
Oh, beauty. I love that.
But it's another sense. Look, when we look, remember I called the sun Ra. Mm-hmm. Imagine that every day that you go out and you look in your garden and you see this beautiful flower, or you're looking at the sunset and you go, this is this energy of the sun, of the beauty of things. Venus is connected to the sun. It dances with the sun. It's the morning star, then it's the evening star. It's the morning star, then the evening star. So you're here in Gemini, which is an intellectual sign. You're in the business of showing that life can be beautiful.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
That's the cinnamon effect, That's this.
Yes.
What is it that makes life beautiful? And I wanted to talk about this because I think learning more about astrology, really helped me learn about myself and learning the rising sign, the ascendant. I think most people don't know that of their chart. They, unless you've done like a birth chart, a lot of people don't understand what that is and how important and how descriptive that actually was of my personality, what I've chosen to do as a career, all these things. And it's like, if people were armed more with this knowledge, I just think it's this part of the self-discovery, I love it.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a moment, this moment, if you have this sense of the intelligence of the universe, this is your moment. And we freeze frame that moment, but it's got a DNA, it's got a structure. You have your moon in Pisces, in a water sign. You know, you're sensitive. We should do this in kindergarten. We should have Moon Day.
Yes, what's your moon? Yeah.
You know, what's your moon? Oh, you're a water moon, Kimberly. You and all the water moons, go over there, please. All the earth moons here. Air moons and fire moons. Look at the water moons. They're already all crying together because they're so sensitive. They go, oh my God, you're so beautiful. I didn't know there was other people like you.
You know, but it's funny because my moon responds really well to a Pisces, because I'm a Pisces moon. I really enjoy a Pisces person. Like their sun sign is Pisces. I think
sun and moon.
Yeah. And they nurture that water side of me. And I love that. Right. I gravitate towards people like that.
I mean, I could write a whole book called the Astrological Cooking Book of Relationships, which is about suns and moons and Venuses and Mars and so on, and recipes, and how does this work with that, and what gives longevity. Look, the rabbit hole can get very deep here with astrology, but the truth is it is really, really, really about self-awareness. Yeah. And the more that we can bring some self-awareness and cohesion in life, in these really, really difficult times that we're in, you know, we have to become centers and sources of cohesion. And that's the one place that you can do that is within yourself, within your practice, within your family, and so on. And then it becomes your community. So these are very critical times that we're in, as you can tell.
Yes. No, I love that. My son knows, you know, what everyone's sun sign is. He maybe doesn't know the rising or the moon quite yet, but he'll ask people, what is your astrological sign? And he's only 7. So, but he is a Taurus like me. And so we relate to these commonalities within our sign, you know. What would you say?
So look at this. He's also got Uranus on his sun at some point in this short time. So both of you are going through this period of authenticity somehow together.
Oh, now
so interesting. Now his ascendant might be different. He may be in another area of the chart. Maybe it's in creativity. Who knows? But you can start to see how the script develops.
Yes. Yeah, we need to probably do like a more in-depth reading about him. What do you think, you know, if someone does have, because I know a lot of people want to have their birth chart read, but then they also want like their family members' birth charts read. But if it is like someone who is younger, what is something that you can kind of determine early on?
I was very resistant to reading kids' charts. I really like to have permission from the person. To read their chart. But then in our community, we have a very good community, often around some very good podcasting, astrology podcasts. And, you know, there's comments and you get to connect. And I've been to conferences. And the women astrologers went, no, we're moms. We want to work with our kids' birth charts. It's a great tool. So I started then to you know, it's very hard to give somebody, you know, Jupiter takes 12 years to go around the chart until somebody approaches their teen years, puberty and things. They're still very much trying to discover what it is to be in their body. So you can't talk very much about Jupiter, certainly not Saturn, which is the authorities in their life, you know. So probably the youngest person on my own to talk to somebody has been 17, 18, something like that. You know, they can really start to get the feel for it all. But we've had this huge acceleration of energy, obviously, and awareness. So here we have 7-year-olds starting to tune into this. This makes some sense to me. And I would say people should know about their moon. Because the moon moves around every month. It's a woman's cycle. It will go through all of the 12 signs every month. So which the moon today is in Aries, it's in a fire sign, it's in an activating sign. If you tune into which sign the moon is in and where it is in relation to my moon, a fire moon against a water moon, like yesterday, it was in water. You probably had a very nice Sunday yesterday, relaxed, and and now it's Monday. We got to go. I've got this podcast. It's in Aries.
Fire it up! Fire it up!
Fire it up! But this kind of just tuning into this obvious cycle of the moon, and we've delineated these 12 signs. So each one of them has an element: earth, air, fire, and water. So just knowing the simplest of things, I have a water moon, I have a fire moon,
Yes.
Look, we've just started Wood Dragon Year. See, back there in China, they've got 12 signs for animals. For some, deep understanding throughout humanity, we have this division into 12.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I just had someone read my 60-year cycle of Chinese astrology, and I'm a monkey. I'm a golden monkey, actually, and just what that meant when I read about it, I was like, wow, like that really. Yeah. I can relate to that, It
resonates.
It does resonate. It does resonate. The moon thing resonates. I just had someone on the podcast, Cree Cox, and she's talking all about the menstrual cycle. And so this is very fitting that this came, pretty soon after. Sure. So water moon's very emotional. What about...
Earth moons.
Yeah, what about Earth moons? What are like some traits of...
I'm an Earth moon. I know what's going on. I feel it in my belly. I don't say anything because I assume everybody else knows what's going on. Mm-hmm. I told you I loved you like 5 years ago. You don't remember? I'm an Earth moon, right?
Yes. You don't forget anything, right?
And I just assume everybody feels because I'm feeling it in my belly, so you must be feeling it too. Mm. So why do we have to talk about this? I'm an Earth moon. This is cartoons. I'm an air moon. I'm an air moon. I don't know what I'm feeling. Let's talk about it. Yeah, so you get a very airy. So you'll get an air moon with an Earth moon, right? And she'll be chattering away, and the Earth moon will go,
My husband is an air sign. He's Gemini. So I feel like...
that his son maybe is in Gemini.
Yeah, his rising is Leo. He's a Leo rising.
He's a fire, right? He's got air and he's got fire. But his moon, the moon is very much the day-to-day. So I think starting with the moon, because after all, the whole of astrology has developed because we could feel energy coming through the moon. We're staring at the stars and feeling a full moon. And then the next time the moon is full, it's against different fixed stars and it feels different. So a way into some of these larger rhythms that we have naturally in life. It's a woman's cycle or even, a deep menstrual cycle in the early 40s. Uranus is 1.5 times round. Saturn is 1.5 times. Uranus is half a time round. Saturn is 1.5, Jupiter's 3.5. There's a whole conversation that goes on, around that time. And you mentioned 60, At 60, you've completed 2 cycles of Saturn and 5 of Jupiter. Wow. We could go into these. These are very obvious and significant, times when everybody can look at. And if we live to be 84, and it's only very recently on the planet that we can start to, through our technology, do this. If we live one complete Uranian cycle, let me share you something share your screen with this.
So Uranus is very powerful.
Very powerful. It's just not visible. You'll see here I'm showing a chart of the signs of the zodiac and the chakra system.
Yes.
And here we have planets and we have signs, and they relate to chakras. But you can see here that Jupiter kind of rules each of these chakras. And if you live to be 84, you will have done 7 cycles of Jupiter. You would have completed 7 cycles of the chakras. You would develop the 7 chakras.
Like
it's all related.
Like enlightened.
It's all related.
Because you'd be enlightened because you've gone through those 7 cycles of Jupiter.
If you do that with awareness, for sure, you know, and you can feel that often with, you know, it used to be rare that somebody lived to be that long, but now it can be normal for us. So Jupiter is, what am I learning? How can I apply that through Saturn structures? Practice this and that, you know. So one very simple practice, for instance, to activate your sun energy in your body, if we're looking at the chakras, would be to start to go, and there's a philosophy there behind this.
Yeah.
To see that beauty, that for life. When we laugh, ha ha ha. You know, or we sing songs of devotion, hara hara ma ma. You know, this energy. And then another sound to go with it would be ooh. So then it goes down really deep with the ooh energy down into the ooh. How deep can I go? And through the chakras. And then you bring that energy up the back of your spine. And then you vibrate the energy here. This is an AUM, you know, so this tunes your body. So just to do something like this, you can do it anywhere in the bathroom, for God's sake.
Yeah, like activating your breath, activating your body.
Activating your body.
It's in, throughout. Just kind of tuning in, right? I mean,
it's a tuning in. It's actually when I pick up an instrument, I have to tune it. This is just tuning your body with sound and breath.
What instruments do you play?
You can see guitar and drums.
Oh yeah, I see your guitar. Yeah.
Yeah, guitar and drums is I play those. So you know.
When did you start learning astrology?
I trained as an architect in London.
Okay.
So I have always practiced architecture. I still build. And at that time in the 60s, I'm very old now. I'm in my 7th cycle of Jupiter. I'm up there getting towards the 80s, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really interesting time for me also, you know, on this time. And it was very easy to go overland at that time on the planet from London to India. We didn't really have a lot of war, you know, in the Middle East or anywhere like that. And the Beatles had gone overland, and there was some attraction about meditation and things like. And I was drawn. I was younger than those guys, but I got on a bus and I found myself in India in the early 70s, and then. I love India. India is deeply, deeply spiritual. You know, poor on the outside and rich on the inside with practice and teachings and techniques. And I found myself there around teachers. In fact, I ran into a teacher there, and this man was shining. I had no idea we could shine as human beings. How the hell I knew Jesus was shining and I knew Buddhas were shining, but here's somebody shining. How'd you do that?
Wait, you just mean like he looked like he was pure light?
He looked like he was pure light.
Ah, that's awesome.
And so, you know, how'd you shine? Well, you shine by... Well, it must be something to do with your heart, because that's where the sun is. We know somebody, a big being like a Jesus or a Buddha, they're full of love, they're shining from their hearts.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
You know, so what's the practice of shining? So there was my life purpose, to learn to shine, right? To get on the shining story.
And and that's what you
look at the stars. Look how they shine for you.
Yeah, and is that Coldplay? That's
Coldplay. Yeah, right.
But I love that song. I mean, Sky.
I love that song.
It's the best. Yeah, so good. So I love that. I've never really heard anybody say that, but you are teaching people the information to let them shine like the brightest, right?
Let them shine. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
That's so special. What, tell me, I mean.
So, I think we lost it again for a little while.
Oh, do we? Are we back? Can you hear me?
Did we lose it again?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we lost. Yeah, I think we lost it.
Yeah, we're back.
Oh, we're back?
Yeah.
We're back. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I feel like we've been doing pretty well. Like I mentioned, you guys, he's in Guatemala. So we are, we're on Zoom here and we're like working through internet connection, but I think we're doing pretty good.
So this whole astrology thing is just a trick to get you into breathing, actually.
To get you more in tune with your body and with yourself.
Exactly, with the somatics of it, So, and your ascendant, your Virgo rising, you appreciate structures and organization of things, so it's very good for you to, you're an earth rising, to take your walk, to sit on the earth, to tune into those earth qualities and so on.
And I feel lost. I mean,
it's a powerful time to put seeds in the ground.
So I have a question. If you were to look back, because you mentioned the Beatles, if you were to look back at like John Lennon's chart, his astrological chart, would you be able to see, would he what would you find in his chart? I mean, they changed music, right? So what would you find in his chart that would be noteworthy? Based on
I don't know his chart, but I do know this about the Beatles as a story, that Saturn takes 28 years to go around through the 12 signs. Mm-hmm. And the planets have jobs to do. And
I'm going to Panama. I'll see you later.
Hi, Luke. I love it.
And so the Saturn, he goes through different signs of the zodiac, and he has to take care of signs of the zodiac. So he takes care of Capricorn and Aquarius. And it takes a 6-year period. So there was a 6-year period when the Beatles were playing hundreds of gigs and doing lots of energy of kind of structuring and forming and putting their energetics all together, So, and then Saturn went into Pisces, where it is now. It's kind of on vacation. And then they wrote Revolver album. And suddenly, like a whole kind of shift of energy happened with them.
Okay.
Meditation practice. Let's go into Pisces. So you can see general trends like this. For instance, if we look back at where were the outer planets, which we've only just discovered, all three of them, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, were all together when, at 570 BC, when Buddha, Lao Tzu, and Pythagoras were all alive. They were all together. This will not happen again till 3300 AD. So with our computers and our systems now, we can look backwards and forwards and see timing on things. There's some very good books on that. Philosophy is embracing again astrology.
Yeah.
As it always used to,
It's fascinating. Now, if someone who wants to know a little bit more about astrology, is there something, I would say more like on the beginner level, something that you would recommend for people?
I wish I could remember the title of the book. Maybe I can write to you and you can put it in the notes. But there's a couple of very good primary books that you can get.
Okay.
You know, there's a tremendous amount of information online these days. Chris Brennan's The Astrology Podcast is like a whole university of lectures on astrology and interviews, you know, if you have time for that. There's the beginner's guides to astrology. I think Chani Nichols, she's like a famous LA astrologer in her 40s. I like this generation of 40-year-olds, you know, who are coming into their power. She's got an app on astrology, so you can access and see where the moon is every day. I think it's a golden age for astrology information. There's no secrets. It's all there if you want to look it up. So, for instance, you know, Kimberly, if you wanted to go on Google and look up your Virgo rising, you know, you would get, you know, pages of information.
Right. You didn't have access. Like when you...
No, we didn't. We had none of this.
Where were you finding it?
Well, I was in India. I told you I took this journey overland. You asked me the source of astrology, and I was in India around this teacher that was shining, right? And there were other people there, and one was an astrologer. And I said, would you read my chart? He said, you have to go and calculate it. It took me 6 months to find the books and to learn how to do it. And I went back with my chart to him, you know, gave him my chart. And he looked at it. Actually, he gave me one of the greatest astrology readings. He said, you'll laugh at death. And then he gave it back to me. That was my reading.
You'll laugh at death?
That was the reading, yeah. Wow. That was a very deep reading, but then people understood that I could work out charts, so I became an astrologer. Oh
my gosh! But probably like a strong mathematical brain, like when you're having to do it like that.
You had to, you know. I'm an architect. I deal with space and structures and organization.
Yes. Did you build your place in Guatemala?
Yeah.
You did?
Well, I sketched it. The guys built it. We have very good craftsmen down here.
Yeah. So why did you move to Guatemala?
A lot of it was to do with the architecture. I had many good friends. I was living in California. I was raising kids, you know. And
is that your son that keeps popping in?
That's my son who keeps on popping. He happens to be visited. Lives in his own world, I'll tell you.
Oh, my God. I love it. I love that he's there. That's great.
It's great. But I found out that down here, you can see how strong the lake is. But also we don't have any building regulations here. You know, at that time. So you could pretty much build what you want to. I was in California, you know, trying to, actually for that son, I was trying to get permission to build a house in Big Sur. And he was in kindergarten before I got permission, by the time you've gone through coastal commissions and all the regulatory things you had to do. So there were changes in my life at this time, and I came down to here, and I was teaching a lot of different things, and I ran a course down here, and I made money, and I put that money into buying this land that is now this whole estate where I live.
Wow, and it's beautiful. What is your typical day? Your typical day in Guatemala? What are you doing?
Well, I've got to go pretty soon. I walk down the hill to a retreat center, and I have sessions actually in half an hour.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
So I don't get in cars. I walk. I have to go, actually. I have to.
He's like, well, on that note, everyone, Deva's got to go.
And so, you know, we go to the market. My vacation is to go across the lake to the market town where there's hot springs hotels.
That's awesome. So is your retreat center like people can come visit you, or you tell me how people can find you? If you want to get your birth chart read, how do they find you, Deva?
It kind of broke up again for a sec.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me? I said, how can...
Yeah, if you go... if you go to Deva, it's probably best to go to devanirguna.com.
Okay, devanirguna.com, which is DEVA.
If you go to devanirguna.com, I sent it to you on Messenger.
Okay.
GUNA.
Okay.
Devanirguna.com. You will see artist, architect, astrologer. You will see a lot of information about me, and you can go through the links there and explore.
Okay, devanirguna.com, which is devanirguna.com. Well, Deva, thank you so much for being here today. You go ahead and walk down to the retreat center.
It's been fun. Sorry about the ups and downs.
No, that's okay. I'll see you soon. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, let's look at the end of this wave, see where everybody is, huh?
I would love that. We need to reconnect, have you on again.
We'll check in.
Okay, sounds good.
Blessings to everybody.
Blessings.
Namaste.
Thank you so much. Namaste. Thank you.